Okay, think about this. Every single day, we're creating this just mind-boggling amount of text. Social media comments, product reviews, news articles, you name it. But how on earth do we make sense of it all? In this explainer, we're going to look at the powerful tools that turn this massive ocean of words into actual, actionable wisdom. I mean, seriously, just think about it. You have millions of people all voicing their opinions online every single minute of every single day. So if you're a business or a researcher or hey, even just a curious person, trying to understand what's really being said is like trying to hear one specific conversation in a sold-out stadium. The sheer volume is it's overwhelming.
And that's exactly where text analytics comes in. It's not one single thing, but a whole collection of methods designed to systematically go through and interpret text. It helps us find the patterns, the themes, and the feelings that are hidden in all that noise. It's basically how we take all that messy, human stuff and make it something we can actually measure and understand.
All right, so let's pop the hood and see what's in this toolkit. The main players are topic modeling, which helps us figure out what people are even talking about. Then there's sentiment analysis, which tells us how they feel about it. And finally, engagement analysis, which measures how much they're actually interacting with the content. We're going to break down each one.
Okay, so where do you even start? Let's tackle the biggest, most fundamental challenge first. When you were staring at a literal mountain of text, how do you begin to figure out what the main subjects of conversation even are?
Well, the answer is something called topic modeling. The best way to think about it is like having a giant jigsaw puzzle with thousands and thousands of pieces. Now, instead of you having to sort through every single piece by hand, topic modeling acts like a guide. It algorithmically groups the pieces together to show you the main pictures. Here's a beach scene, over there is a city skyline. It automatically finds clusters of words that show up together all the time, revealing the hidden themes in the data.
Okay, let's make this real. Here's a perfect example. A group of data analysts in Ohio were looking at this super popular climate change documentary on YouTube. It had generated, get this, over 100,000 comments from all over the world. Reading that manually? No way. It would be literally impossible.
So what did they do? They unleashed topic modeling on it. The algorithm just churned through 500,000 words and, pretty quickly, it uncovered 4 main themes that kept popping up. One was about disappearing glaciers, with words like ice and melting. Another was deforestation, with words like trees and Amazon. The other 2 were about the oceans and urban pollution. And boom! Just like that, they had this super clear snapshot of the entire global conversation.
Now, a quick but important point here. You might hear about something similar called thematic analysis, and it's easy to get them confused. Topic modeling, what we just talked about, is quantitative. It's algorithmic, perfect for huge datasets like those YouTube comments. Thematic analysis, on the other hand, is qualitative. It's human-driven, much more interpretive, and it's better for a deep dive on smaller sets of data, like maybe a handful of interviews.
All right, so now we know what people are talking about. But that's only half the story, right? The next, and maybe even more important question is, how do they feel about it?
And this, my friends, is where sentiment analysis comes into play. Some people call it opinion mining. It uses natural language processing, which is just a fancy way of saying we're teaching computers to understand human language, to read a piece of text and figure out the emotion behind it. Is the writer happy? Are they frustrated? Or just neutral? It's all about decoding that emotional tone.
And you know what? These tools are getting scary good at this. Their accuracy rates are often somewhere between 70 and 90%. Now, are they perfect? Of course not. They can still get totally thrown off by uniquely human things like sarcasm. A phrase like, "Oh, I just love it when my computer crashes." That's a classic challenge, but the AI is getting better and better at picking up on that kind of context.
Let's look at another real-world case. Imagine you're running a gym, like Vitality Peak Fitness in New Zealand. You want to know what your members are really saying on your gym's Facebook page. So, you turn to sentiment analysis to get clear, direct insights from all that feedback.
And here's the kicker, the part that really matters. The analysis quickly showed a ton of positive feelings about their new, modern equipment. Great, but it also flagged some really strong negative feelings about their weekend hours and a few concerns about hygiene. This wasn't just interesting data, it was a roadmap. The gym took that feedback and took direct action. They extended their hours and put stricter cleaning rules in place. They turned complaints directly into improvements.
Okay, so we figured out what people are saying and how they feel. But there's another piece to this puzzle, another layer of information, and that's the actions people take. The likes, the comments, the shares. They tell their own story about what really connects with people.
And that brings us to our next tool, Audience Engagement Analytics. Basically, this is all about looking at what people do with the content you put out there. Are they liking it, commenting, sharing it? High engagement is a huge signal that your message is hitting home. Low engagement? Well, that might be a sign it's time to rethink your strategy.
And here's a super important thing to remember. Not all engagement is the same. It's not even close. A like is easy. It's a quick nod of approval, so we might give it a weight of 1. A comment, that takes more effort, more thought. Let's give that a weight of 3. And a share, well, a share is the ultimate compliment. It's someone basically shouting, hey, everyone I know needs to see this. That's way more valuable, so it gets a weight of 5.
We can also slice this data by time, which is incredibly powerful. This chart, for example, shows the tweet activity for a charity campaign. And as you can see, the conversation isn't flat at all. You see those huge, sharp peaks? Those are massive spikes in engagement, and they probably line up perfectly with specific events or marketing pushes. This way of looking at data over time, it's called temporal analysis, and it's how you spot the rhythm of a conversation.
All right, we've got the topics, we've got the feelings, we've got the buzz. Now let's put it all together. We're going to look at one final case study that shows how even a small business can use this entire toolkit to create some serious growth.
So I want you to meet Sarah. She's the data-savvy daughter of the owners of this awesome little Pakistani restaurant in Ottawa. She decided to take what she'd learned in a social media analytics class and apply it to her family's business to help them really pop on Instagram.
So what was her secret sauce? It was all data. First, Sarah used engagement analysis to just track which food photos got the most love, the most likes and comments. Then, by looking at the content itself, she had a breakthrough. Vibrant, super close-up shots of their signature dishes just blew everything else out of the water. From there, she used temporal analysis to figure out the absolute best times to post for maximum impact, and she made sure her posts were targeted right at the local foodies in her area.
And that story, Sarah's story, it just perfectly sums up what this is all about. It's about moving from just having a bunch of raw data to making smart, informed decisions.
Because that is the real magic of text analytics. It takes the messy, unstructured, beautiful chaos of human language, all those millions of comments and reviews and posts, and it transforms it into structured, understandable insights that can guide your strategy, improve your customer service, and actually grow your business.
And this whole field is moving at lightning speed, especially with AI getting smarter every single day. As these tools become even more powerful, even more aware of context, it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. As AI truly becomes fluent in our language, what new layers of meaning will it uncover in the words we all use every day?